So you mastered melee. Now let's get some deadly distance to your attacks. Ranged combat starts now. Okay, so to start out with, the first thing we're going to grab is our assets. So we're going to start by grabbing, we're going to go to the Mixamo site, and we're going to grab the X spot right here. Next, you want to grab another one called Flying Back Death. And then next, you want to grab the gunplay, which is a Remington shotgun. Okay, for the final asset, basically the one I'm going to be using for this project will be this military weapon silver. Unfortunately, this particular asset from this creator here has not updated, but if you have this in your library, you can use this black one or the silver one. It's exactly the same. Now, if you don't have any type of gun or something that you can use in this project, because basically I'm going to be using a shotgun from here, you can just go to the Fab store, and then right here, you can click on 3D models, go into the 3D search, and then you can just type in the asset you want, shotgun. Now, once you have this shotgun here, in order to get like something free just to do for this project, you can go ahead and instead of going to relevance, you're going to sort by lowest first. Once you're here, you're just going to pick whatever shotgun, I leave that up to you. And then, you can just add it to your library and then later add it into your project. All right, let's go ahead and add our weapon to our project. Okay, so say that once you've, you're into your Unreal Engine editor and you want to add your project. So I got the military weapon, as you can see right here. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to go into, since it's an older asset, you're just going to show all projects. And you're going to click on the project that you want to add it to. Right here under engine version, just use the highest compatible version. In this case, it's 4.27. And then you just select add to project. Okay, now once you're in your project, what we're going to do is you'll see your folder here for your actual weapon. Now we're going to create a new folder so we can add our Mixamo project or our Mixamo assets. So simply just create a new folder, type in Mixamo, hit enter, go inside of this folder, make another folder, and we're just going to call this animations. Now, if you look right here, you can select the import tab. And then since I download all my assets to my desktop, that's where they're located. So we're going to just download one asset here first, which is going to be the X spot. So we have a skeleton for this project. And then we're just going to select open. We're going to leave everything at its default and just use the single import, which is fine. And then you can close out these extra folders or tabs that have opened up. And then as you can see right here in the lower right corner, it says 5 unsaved. That's the assets we just downloaded. They've all got stars to indicate that. We can just do a Control, Shift, and S, and that'll save everything. And if you look in the lower right, it'll say all saved. Now, let's go ahead and go into our animations folder, and we're going to import our other two animations. So we're going to do the gunplay and the flying back death and hit open. Now, for this one, we need to select the skeleton. So we're going to go up here to this tab here, to the drop down, and we can scroll all the way down to the bottom and use the Xbox skeleton. And we're going to go ahead and we're just going to say import all because we have two different animations that we're adding. Now, from here, just do a Control Shift S. And then what we're going to do is we're going to right click one of these animations here, and we're going to just go ahead and select the retarget. And for this right here, for the target skeleton, we're just going to type in the word simple. And right here, select Quinn. And then what we do is we're just going to left click and hold down Control and left click, and that way we grab both our animations. And we can just go ahead and select Export Animations. Right here, we want to give it a prefix so we can differentiate it. So we're just going to do QNY, which is for the Quinny skeleton, and an underscore. And this will put it in front of the actual animation. We go to our Mixamo folder, select animations, and then hit export. Hit export again. Then we're going to just go ahead, we can do a Control Shift S to save our animations, and we can close these out. Now, we're going to need to do a little bit of an edit to this gunplay animation. So we're just going to double click it. And then right here, we're gonna pause right here for a moment, and we're gonna scroll back. And what we're gonna do is we don't want all this extra stuff. We want it just to quickly shoot. So he's got that one pump and he's got that cock there, and then we're gonna stop right there, and we're just gonna go ahead and do a right click on the frame 30, and we're gonna remove frames 0 to 30. Now, the next part of this is we're going to grab this here and we're going to scrub, and we want it to go all the way out, but once he fires, we want it to, when he pulls back, we want it to stop. So, I mean, we can get all this extra, but it's just going to make the animation seem a little bit longer. So we're going to stop at 30 once again. We're going to right click on here. This time we're going to get 31 through 48 and delete those, remove those right there. And then we're going to click save. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to head to the flying, or right here where this flying black death is, flying back at death, and we're going to left click and control and grab both of our animations, and we're going to create montages out of them. So let's go ahead and hit create and go to create Anim montage, and then all you have to do is do a control shift S. Okay, so now let's go ahead, and what we're going to do is we're going to go into the content folder again, and we're going to go back here, and what we're going to do is we're going to edit the third person character. So in the content folder, third person character, blueprints, we're going to open up third person. Now, right here, we're going to need to add some things. We're going to start out simple, and we're going to go with some variables. Okay, for this first variable, what we're going to add is going to be something called aiming. And then use a question mark, and we're going to leave that as a Boolean. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add something called weapon range, and we're going to turn that into an actual float, like so. Now, the other thing we're going to do is, or we'll do a compile and save. We're going to go to the viewport, and right here, what we're going to need to do is we're going to add a first-person camera. So the way we're going to do that is pretty simple. We're going to highlight the mesh here, and what we're going to do is we're going to select add, and then just type in camera. Now, we don't want the cine camera for this project. We're just going to use the regular one. And then what we're going to call, we're just going to call this FP camera. Okay. Now, right here, let's see, while we do a compile and save, we're going to make sure that we select our camera, and we're going to parent this right here to the actual head. So just click on this little folder right here. Let me do that again. Folder. And we're going to select head. And that's going to put on the character's head. We'll do a compile and save. We're going to go and we're going to select the mesh. And then for this mesh, we don't want it moving around right now. So what we're going to do is we're just going to temporarily use an asset and not have it use anything. And what we can do is go back to the first person camera. Okay, and use your mouse scroll to WSAD keys to maneuver, mouse scroll to slow down so you're not zipping around the actual viewport. We're going to select that, and we're going to change the widget here for a second. Let's see, first do a compile and save. Select that, and let me see here. So we got this, should be able to move this here, there we go. But I'm going to set the increment here to the lowest, just so we can customize it a little bit better. And let's see. Just go. Oh, okay. Let's go. So let's see. There we go. We can hit the E key, and that allows us to rotate the camera, like so. And right here, you can see the eyepieces don't line up. You're just gonna grab and rotate it around until that way, so we're not looking like sideways. And then we can go back and hit the W key, and we can just move this forward a bit. And then, like I said, just line it up. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you want it, the more accurate it is, the better it'll look. And we can just do that like so. And we can do see, well, we got that there. Should be good. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's just do a compile and a save. We're going to go, let's see, make sure we look back. yeah, we're going to do we're going to select the camera once again. And what we want to find is the rotation. Yeah, we're going to use the pawn rotation right here. So that way the camera will turn with the pawn. So we'll just do a compile and save here. And then we have to go back to the mesh. We can X this out. And right here with the mesh, we're going to need to set it back. So under animations, just go ahead and set it back to the Anim blueprint, and it'll go back to the default. And then from there, do a compile and save. While we're here, while we're here highlighting the mesh, we're going to add another mesh right here. So we're just going to select add, and we're going to add a skeletal mesh. And we're not going to call it skeletal mesh. We're just going to rename it to gun mesh. Like so, and hit enter. And then right now we're going to need to go ahead and go into its skeleton here. We'll do a compile and save. We're going to go into the original mesh's skeleton. So highlight the mesh, and we're just going to follow this folder right here under mesh. And we need to put a socket on the skeleton. So the skeleton's right here. So just double click that. And now that we're in the skeleton, we're going to use the right hand. So it's going to be hand R. So this is hand L right here. So hand R is going to be somewhere down here, like so. And you can also type it in the search. So right here, you select the hand R. You're going to do a right click, and you're going to add a socket. This socket, we're going to rename it by highlighting it. Let's see, right here. And we got to select details. And right here, we're going to change this to RH underscore item, or we could say, let's find gun socket, like so. And then hit enter. And make sure you save. Now, for this socket here, we're going to do a right click, and we need to add a preview mesh. Now, I'm just going to add a shotgun, because this is the one that came with the pack, and yours will pop up depending on what you type in this. So it hits the shotgun. And we need to make sure this looks pretty good. So what we're going to do is we're going to rotate this just to get it kind of close, and hit W just to line it up a little bit. Now, right at this point, we're not doing it perfectly right here. The main goal here is to get it in a basic situation to where it's close, which is okay right here. And then up in this left-hand corner right here, we're going to do a preview animation. Now, for the preview animation, what we're going to use is gunplay. And we can use, it doesn't matter, you can use the animation or the other one. And then we can just go ahead, and right here, we're going to need to pause this and use this little red scrubber here to put it back. And let's go ahead and line that up. So we can go ahead and zoom in right here. And you can see it's pretty close, but I would like to have it look a little bit better. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, and that's pretty much how I'm going to do it. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you want it to line up pretty nicely. Like it's cutting off his fingers here and stuff, but that's okay. It looks pretty good. So we can just hit play so we can take a look and see how it looks. And that's pretty good. Okay, so we can do a Control-Shift-S to save. And then we can close this out because we're done with this part. Now, for right here, we're going to select our gun mesh, and we're going to select it right here in this fold. We're going to go to the parent socket for the gun. I'm sorry, not the gun mesh. We're going to select, we're going to select the gun mesh, and we're going to select the folder. And then right here, we're going to use our RH gun socket, and that's going to attach it there. Now, we need to go ahead and add the skeletal mesh. So I'm just going to select the skeletal mesh we're going to use, which is going to be shotgun. And then I'm just going to add it, like so. And that will give us and do a compile and save. And that'll add the gun to our hand. Okay, before I forget, we're going to go back into our content folder. We can leave this tab up. Actually, we can go ahead and set this to the event graph because we're pretty much done in here. And we're just going to leave that there for now. We're going to go to the content folder again. And then in the content folder, we're going to go back to our Mixamo. We're going to go to our animations. And we're going to go into the gunplay montage. and we're just going to double click that. And what we want to do is we're going to add a montage here. We're just going to pause. And this is just going to be something cool just to give it a cool little sound. So right here, you pick your spot. I think like right here where he's aiming and it kind of is about to go up. So right here, about 15 or so around this. What I'm going to do is right here, I'm going to right click and I'm going to add a notify. We're going to do a play sound notify here. Okay. And then with this here, we're going to select it. And right here in the sounds, you're going to go down here. And if you're using the pack I'm using, you should be able just to type in shotgun. I think it's A or something. Or shotgun fire. Yes. So we're going to do a shotgun fire right here. Play it. And that's what it sounds like. And we're just going to select that. So what's going to happen is every time this animation goes to this point, it's just going to play that montage. So let me show you. Like so. And now as far as that, we're done with that. So we can just do a Control-Shift-S to save, and then we can go ahead and close that out. Okay. For this next part, we're going to go ahead and start building the logic for our character here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to build the code real quick, and then you guys can copy it, and I'll explain what's going on. Okay, so let's go ahead and compile and save. Oh, I'm sorry. Before we compile and save, let's go ahead and let me show you what's going on with the code. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set this first person camera to active and then leave the third person at false. And then when we release this left shift mouse button, we're going to set the follow camera to active. Now, right here, what we're going to need to do, we're going to set this right here to aiming. That's going to be, we're going to set this variable, and this is the variable that we created earlier. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set this use controller rotation yaw, and that's just basically going to allow the head to move around, and it'll basically track the pawn. And then for the right here, you can see I got a little error. That's just because I didn't hook up the movement component right here. So all I did was drag off this movement component and typed in the orientation to movement. So yeah, anytime you get a variable, you just drag it off right here. So like for instance, the follow camera or this first person camera, you drag off and type in set active, and that's how you would get those nodes. Now, right here, we're going to set this orientation movement to true because we want him to. We're going to set it to false when he's in the first, or I'm sorry, when we release it, he's going to go right back to this particular movement. So one's like a strafing, and one. So when we're in first person, we're strafing, and when we're not, we're going to just have the regular turning, and I'll show you that later. So we're going to do a compile and save, and that'll clear up that error because we didn't have the character movement connected. So let me go ahead and leave this up for you guys for a bit. I'm just going to right click and then dock this to the side for a second. And then go ahead and take the time and copy this code right here, and then we can move on. Okay, great. Moving on. So we can get a little space over here. Okay. I'm sorry. I did something that I did not want to do. Let's see. I wanted to actually make this the right mouse button. Oh, no, wait. I'm sorry, I made a slight mistake here. What I want to do right here is I want to make this the right. I want to make this the right mouse button. So we're just going to right click real quick. And we're going to make this the right mouse button. And the reason for this is because this is going to be what's used for the aiming. So we're just going to go ahead, hold the control and hover over and left click and just drag these right here and move this here. So now the right mouse button will allow us to basically aim, and then the left mouse button we're going to use to actually do the firing. So let's go ahead and take this left mouse button and put it over here. Okay, so for this next part, I'm gonna do the same thing like I just did a little bit ago. I'm just gonna show you the code, and then you guys can copy it. All right. So, and then also I'll give an explanation. All right, here we go. Okay, so now first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do a compile and a save, and let me go ahead and walk you through the code. All right, so first we're gonna set, basically depending on what we're doing is gonna dictate if we can fire our weapon, which is gonna be the aiming, and that's gonna be condition. That's gonna be set to true. Now right here, we're gonna need to play a montage, and the montage that we're gonna play is gonna be the gunplay, because when we fire our weapon, we're gonna use gunplay. Okay. Now, the way I got this node here is all I did was I grabbed the mesh right here, I dragged it on here, and then I dragged off of here, and I typed in play montage. Okay, next, what we're going to need, or the next part is we have to drag off of here and get a line trace by channel. And what we're doing is we're getting from the first person camera, which is by the head, we're going to get its rotation as location. And then all I did here is I got the start point from the location and added it here. And then I did an add and put that towards the end. And then right here, we're going to get the rotation as well. And we're going to multiply by the weapon range. And that's going to give us our distance. Now, let me go ahead and undock from sidebar here. We're going to select this weapon range, and we do a compile and save. And like if it's not populated, that's why you have to compile and save. So right here, we're just going to go ahead and give it, I guess 3,000 should be good. And then we do a compile and save. That means we'll be able to shoot out about 3,000 in these increments here. And then from the line trace right here, we're going to set the line trace by channel. It's going to be the camera, okay? And then continuing from there, we're going to pull off the line trace and do a break by hit result. Make sure you compile and save whenever you make changes, just in case, in case the editor crashes. So right here, we're only using two things from the break hit result. So we need to apply damage to the hit actor. So what we can do is we added the apply damage node. We did the hit actor. We dragged off here, right here. And then the causer would be ourself, or the person contained in the blueprint here. Now, for this other part here, where it says spawn emitter at location, the thing that we're going to use is this fire one, this P explosion. This one, it's a simple, cool little explosion fire thing here. It's pretty good. And that'll be the spawn emitter at location. And then make sure you get the impact point and you connect it to the location. Okay, and that's what's going to spawn that emitter there. Okay. Now, that should cover that. So let's go ahead and let me go ahead and dock this to the sidebar. And I'm going to go ahead and do a compile and a save. And what we're going to do is I'm going to move that over a little bit. And I'm going to do this in two parts. So I'm going to make it to where it's easy to copy. So just go ahead and take the time to copy this part. Okay, good. And then let's go ahead and finish out the rest right here. Okay, good. Now, if you notice, I didn't do a draw debug type because this is just going to be quick, so we don't really need to do that. But you can if you want to see where, like a red line to see where you're hitting. So now I'm going to do one more, and here is the actual whole code here. You can just go ahead and copy it. Okay, great. So let me undock this again. And we're pretty much done with this. So right here, we're just gonna go ahead and you always, like I said, it's all saved. Just do a Control Shift S, and that'll save everything. And then right now we don't really need this. We can just go ahead and oh, I almost forgot. Right here under Apply Damage, make sure you put the damage type under apply damage. That's very important. Otherwise, your code, it's not going to work. Okay. Now compile, save. And then what we're going to do is we're going to need to make our dummy. Probably should have made this first, but that's okay. So we're going to go to our content folder. We're going to go to our third person character, go to blueprints. And what we're going to do is we're just going to duplicate this. So we're just going to left click, do a control D, that'll duplicate it. We're going to erase the name and just put blueprint BP underscore dummy and hit enter. Do a control shift S, and then we can go ahead and open this up. Sorry about the interruption, but real quick, I wanted to show you, this is what we're building in this next part. It's going to be really simple and quick. It's just basically when we shoot the dummy, it's going to react this way. Now, go ahead and click like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. Back to the video. Now, we've just made an exact duplicate of everything, but we don't need any of this code here. So we're just going to scroll out. We're going to select all this code because this is just a dummy class, so we can just go ahead and hit delete for that. The other thing we're going to delete is we don't really need the gun mesh. We don't need any cameras. The arrow component we do need. Okay, so let's go ahead and hold down the control button. Do a left click for the first person camera, a left click for the gun mesh, the camera boom, and the follow. We can just go ahead and delete all that. So just go ahead and select those and delete. So that's all you got is right here. We also don't need our dummy aiming, so we can go ahead and we can select that and delete that. It doesn't need weapon range, and we can delete that. We can just go ahead and do a compile and a save. And we're going to go to the viewport, and we're going to go to the mesh. And I like to color my dummies. I know that sounds stupid, but, just to give it a little flair. So I'm just going to select the material under this mesh when it's highlighted. And I'm just going to type in metal. And the metal I'm going to use is going to be this cool gold. Now we got a cool gold dummy. Isn't that great? Okay, compile, save, and then we're going to go back to our event graph. Okay, now for this particular example, we just need, it's going to be a really quick and simple and easy one. So I'm just going to make the dummy just die, basically. So we're going to start by doing an event, any damage. Scroll in a bit, and then we're going to drag off of here, and we're going to do a play anim montage. Play anim montage. Now, with the play anim montage, it's just self, so it's not like the other montage. You don't have to drag the mesh off and all that. So for the montage we're going to play is obvious. We're going to do the flying back death because it's going to be cool to watch. And then what we're going to do is hold down the D button and do a left click, and that's going to give us a delay. So we're going to have it delay for a little bit, and the amount of time we're going to delay is going to be 2.5, and enter. And then finally, once that happens, we're going to just go ahead and destroy the actor. So once he takes any type of damage, it doesn't matter what it is, he's just going to die. He's going to fall back and it's going to destroy the actual this character. We're going to do a compile and a save. Yeah, pretty simple code. I'm not going to stop for this. You can pause if you like. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the actual third person map. We're going to zoom in here, and we're going to go ahead and just put our dummies out. So we're going to grab this dummy and just drag him right here, right? And you can hit the E to rotate, like so. And then we're going to do a W to, basically I like to call it walking it. And we're going to hold down the Alt button, and we're just going to do a slight drag just to duplicate the dummy so we can have a couple of times to practice. Highlight this dummy, do this again, hold down the Alt key, and do a left, and then drag it out over here. So that way we got multiple dummies, okay? Okay, before we start, there was something I just thought about, and I don't remember doing it. So just go back to our third person right here. And what we need to do is, okay, so we're inside the event graph, right at where we do our left mouse and shooting. Right here, under applied damage, when you have the damage type, you got to hit the dummy for some type of damage, at least 1 point. Otherwise, it won't register. So that's something else we need to do. So go ahead and do a compile and a save. All right. Let's go ahead and go back to the third person map. Okay, so let's just go ahead when we're gonna hit play, and then right here, I'm gonna hit F11. Just I like the full screen, and then we just hold down the right mouse button and hit left click, and then you could just go ahead and target practice and kill your dummies. All right, so real quick, so this is a great combat range video, but if you want to actually improve this, what you can do is check out this next video, and this video will actually assist, and it's a complement to this video.